Hi, my name is Dr. Ray Pastor, and today I'm going to talk about instructional analysis, the analysis phase in the ADDIE process. So I'm coming to this video assuming that you've already done, you've already determined that there's a training need or a training problem. So you've already done that initial front-end analysis and determined that. We're ready to start the instructional design process. And the first step is an analysis. Why do we do an analysis? Because we have to make sure that what we're designing is actually going to work. So before we start that design, we have to know a few things. Otherwise, we've all seen the statistic that 70% of projects fail to meet their initial their initial objectives. So we don't want to fall in that 70%. We want our project to be successful. So you always have to do an analysis, even if it's quick. And there are some times where we can get by with doing a short one, but we're not going to talk about that today. What we're going to talk about is how to do a complete, full analysis. All right, so you can see my little graphic that I have here on the screen. I start with analysis, and then I go into the gap analysis needs assessment. And really the first part of my analysis, I have a charter, learner analysis, context, environment analysis, technology analysis, and knowledge analysis. I'm going to talk about each of those for just a quick minute. You can see that I have some stuff written up on the screen here. I'll make this a little bigger so that you can see it. So the project charter. I don't want you to be confused that the project charter is the same charter you use in the project management, PMBOK, that kind of process. This is a charter simply for your training. It should contain some of the same information like why are we doing this training, who are the people working on the team, what's the budget, what's the summary, summary schedule, what's the return on investment of this training project. It should be a very quick 1 to 2 page, almost like abstract that we've written out that's part of our analysis. Next thing, and I'm going to skip down here a little bit to knowledge of performance analysis. So I know you can see I have this here, a knowledge analysis is what I call it. It's really, do you have the performance analysis in front of you? That's where we determined that training was an issue, through that performance analysis. So do you have it? Can you look at the data they collected in that front-end analysis? Because if you can't see as the instructional designer that training really was the problem, you can't see what they did before, then you might have to go back and take a step back and actually go through and just be sure that training really was the problem. So we always have to have knowledge of the performance analysis or the performance analysis in hand, or we might need to step back and go do that. All right, once we've done that, we have that performance analysis, everything's great, training's the problem. Next thing, let's talk to our learners. Let's figure out who they are. What's their level of education? Can they use technology? What kind of training are they used to? What is their age? What is their education like? What are their work conditions like? What is their job like? What are we training? What kind of skill are we training them on? So we figure all that stuff out about the learners. Then we do our context analysis. What kinds of conditions will the learners use these new skills? What are those skills? How are they going to be trained in? Do they have classrooms? Are they on the job? So we determine what the environment's like. We do a technology analysis because a lot of times we're not just doing instructor-led training, or maybe we are, but maybe our students are very tech savvy, or there are problems with them traveling to our site or whatever. So there's going to be some technology component. So do these workers know how to use computers? Do they know how to use smartphones? What kind of training, are they used to classroom training? Do they all have computers that they could take an online training, or are they used to virtual training? So we have to know that. All right, once we've determined all that, that is our instructional analysis. We get into now what's called the needs assessment. So the needs analysis is figuring out all that information. Our needs assessment is actually figuring out what are the current needs versus what do they have to know. So we're going to look at, you can see my chart here for the needs assessment. We have current state, desired state, potential solutions, impacts of those solutions selected, and then we have our goals. So what is the current state? What is there? What's happening that needs to be fixed? Is there an issue where our workers aren't trained? Is there an issue where something incorrect is happening? What is the current state? And then what's the desired state? What's the best case scenario? What's the best case? Like, what do we want? What we want this problem not to happen anymore. Okay. And then what are the potential solutions? How long will each of those take? What do they cost? We might need to rank them because we may have potential solutions that are like, we're going to design robots that do this job for us. But realistically, that's way at the bottom because we can't really do that. So what are we might have some really great potential solutions and some that somewhat solve the problem, and we have to get to what can we feasibly do. And that's something you work out with your stakeholders. Then what are the impacts of each of those solutions that we do? You know, one solution might be awesome, but it might take 2 years to get through, and the ROI for it might not be there. So we have to ask ourselves, what are the impacts of each of these solutions? That's how we really rank them. And then we determine which one is best. And that one is the one that we recommend to our client, solution selected. Once we have a solution, we need to state what our goals are. What are our goals of this project? We write our goals, and then we're ready to go. We're ready to do our task analysis. We're ready to start designing. So that is our instructional analysis. We start by doing the needs analysis, which is the charter, learner analysis, environment analysis, technology analysis, and we have the, you know, that performance analysis already. I have that last here. But really it's just we have that to help us fill in these gaps. Then we do our needs assessment, current state, desired state, what are the solutions? We look at the impacts, the return on investment of those solutions, and we pick one. Then we write our goals. At that point, we're ready for design. Thank you.